Hello guys, welcome back to Super Hang On Sunday episode, whatever the hell it is right now. Lots, I'm just going to say. Let's get going. So, how's your weekend? How's your Sunday going? Sunday, pretty soon. Christmas time. Only a very... Can we make it through the yellow? Yeah, we do. Get it through the yellow zone. Okay, let's do some action today. Some Super Hanging On action. Action. So yes, Christmas soon. How exciting. I hope you all have a lovely Christmas, if I don't speak to you before. I will have one episode of Super Hang On Sunday to come just before Christmas, so that'll be very cool. And I will not be in here in London at that point in time. I'll be away with the family, which will be lovely. I may do a little Xmas vlog. I don't know. If I did, it would probably have to be from my phone. Although, I don't know. I don't really have any sort of... I don't have an amazing laptop, so I don't have the kind of means to sort of edit and do any of that. Oh, I saw that coming. Straight through the lamppost. Bike split in half down the middle. I don't have the means to do that, so it might be just like I've done before now, which is like a little phone vlog of me sitting by the fire with the cat going, "It's Christmas and here I am." And that would probably be all there was to say. So anyway, we'll see how we go. What are you doing for this Christmas? Tell me, that'll be today's topic for one thing. Let me know what you're doing. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. And you can tell me what your plans are for Xmas. Is it a small one? Is it a big family affair? It's a family affair. I'll tell you what I'd love to see as well. Now you can post links and stuff, okay? Not this week, but next week's Super Hang On Sunday. Obviously, it won't actually have been Christmas when that one goes up. But come back to that episode. Oh, I was trying to sort of sneak through there. Come back to that episode on your Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, and on this video, drop some pictures of your Christmas tree, Christmas table, anything like that. Just, you know, share some stuff. I'll put a couple of pics of my things up, and we can just share the love. So, and if you don't want to use, I should say, there's obviously kind of photo hosting sites, etc. But if you have a Twitter, just, you know, you can upload it to Twitter or whatever, and put a Twitter link as well, and that'll be just as good. So, but it'd be always great to see how people do Christmas differently and stuff like that. I feel like Christmas is going to be quite of a big theme, perhaps not this week, but the next week. So I'll leave it just there. But I won't be in London. I'll be going back to my family in the southwest of the UK, which will be really nice. Get to see everybody. I always love it. That's what I love about Christmas the most, is obligated family time. No, it's always really nice, and you just kind of have this, I don't know, like it's funny the sort of feelings that different things can evoke. Just like there's no reason why you should feel any different, but somehow you do, and I think it's because of that kind of that sort of you know, sort of, oh, what's the word? The kind of the sort of order of doing it every year. The same kind of thing, the same stuff happening all the time. I can't think of the word, which is really annoying me, but it's super obvious. My mind's blank because it's late at night. Anyway, so yeah, so we're looking forward to that very much. Anyway, but go on to my other topic now, even though we're only in the first race. But my other topic for today is about the release time of games. You know, and when is the right time to release games and all this kind of stuff. Now, in essence, it's eventually up to sort of the developer what they want to do. It's their game, it's their principles, and it's like, you know, this is what I've kind of said. It's an interesting one. Battlefield 4 has really brought up a lot of questions for me in terms of kind of releasing. I've seen so much kind of, how did we not hit that cactus? Those horrific hit detections on other things, and then I missed that cactus? What the hell? Anyway, it brings up an interesting kind of question for me, because a lot of people have been very frustrated about Battlefield 4. There's been a lot of sort of, I would say, sometimes, I don't know, I wouldn't say necessarily unreasonable, but I think in some aspects over the top negativity towards that game and title, and it's by far and away not the worst release I've ever seen. But for sure it's got some problems, but they've been working very hard to kind of, I'm not paying attention, working very hard to kind of resolve those things. I think they've been doing a good job with that. But anyway, that's a video that I've already done, so I don't need to discuss that right now. But the issue of, hold on, let me just get into beach if we can make it, which I don't think we will, because I don't think I've got time to get to the checkpoint. 1 second. No, just so close. Okay, music time. I couldn't bring myself to start talking just while that was on. Right. So, my kind of real question, and I'm going to be asking this, and I'm probably going to be talking about this a little bit more and I might discuss it. I might get a couple of other YouTubers together to discuss it. This idea of sort of where does the responsibility lie in terms of releasing a game. Now, at the end of the day, people can complain and go, they shouldn't have done this, they shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have done this, you should do this, you should do that. At the end of the day, it's that, I'm not talking about DICE anymore, I'm talking about any developer. It is any developer's choice. They make the game, they chose to make games, they have got the studio, they put the finances into it, it's all theirs, okay? It's their game. So they can release that game in whatever state they want to. And my point that I have made all along is that, depending on how well that then, that game is structured at that point in time, will in a large part determine how successful the game is. So people can say, oh, they should have done this, they should have done that, we want you to do this. But there's an interesting line to sort of draw about the community and sort of, how much interaction with developers the community will have, and so on and so on. Some developers I can fully imagine are like, here's our game, that's, and some devs don't want probably that massive level of interaction. I can't imagine why you wouldn't, but it does seem, and it has been in the past as well with other sort of people, that they have no interest in that kind of thing. And I think it's a kind of a changing state, and also it varies and it matters a lot on the kind of genre and the style of the game. For example, free-to-play games, indie games, they have a lot, they have a much bigger stake in terms of caring and interacting with their community and ensuring that it's a smooth, stable release. The main reason being is that if there's problems there, and because they're a smaller affair, especially with free-to-play, because free-to-play games rely on often microtransactions and other things like that, having a stable core game is essential for them to sort of keep that player base high, so they can maximise any profit that they want to make and actually make sort of a profitable sort of active thing that's going to be working well for them, and that's how it works. But the point is that different sort of sections of the market are going to apply in different ways, especially when it comes to kind of releasing and the stability and the patching and the updating and all this kind of stuff. And so when you have big publishers backing devs as opposed to these kind of free-to-play models and all this kind of stuff, it kind of leads you back to this thing where, in many ways that it's been budgeted for, it's been accounted for already. So up to the point of release, there's this kind of question, and then there's this whole deal of deadlines. Now, we don't know enough details about many different companies, different situations. They probably all have very, very different sort of layouts and models as to sort of the way that they like to do things. And again, that may vary as well. You may even be tied down for the console aspects as well. They may have specific requests that they make, and that may have some implication as well. So there's a load, as I've said so many times, nothing's ever black and white. It's not just like this is how it's going to be. There's many levels of different complexity going on, and that's something else that people need to try and remember. But it does bring up an interesting thing, an interesting question, just about game releases. Is it? I think the more interesting question is how, the kind of risk versus reward. How much of a difference does it make to hold on to the game and just improve it a little bit further? How much actual difference does that make to the developer and its release? How much difference in terms of sales? How much difference in terms of gamer retention? So how much difference does it make to people who pick up the game and then continue to play? Because, for example, I know a lot of people will pick up a game, and I have had experiences in the past where I've picked up a game, it's not been what I wanted, or it's not been what I expected at release, and then based off of that I've returned it back to the store. So again, if they had worked on it a little bit further, maybe I wouldn't have done that. Maybe they would have retained my business, maybe I would have walked away with a slightly better impression of them. And then let's not forget, of course, this can affect future sales as well, because sometimes if people are a bit embittered and they have a really bad experience, like with any product, any brand, if you have a bad experience, you're less likely to then want to sort of purchase that again. So I think this is a really interesting and a really large topic that's been brought up, and it's sort of I think the fact that EA addressed this issue themselves with Battlefield 4, and they specifically made point to sort of say, look, we know there's a problem here, we're doing our best to resolve it, bear with us in the meantime, and all this kind of stuff. They tried to address it in a kind of PR manner, and then that didn't really pan out and all this kind of stuff. So there's some things going on here. And as I say as well, I mean, it could be the point that I have said all along, that voicing your opinion will only get you so far. I'm very cynical about things like this because from bitter experience I know that you can complain and you can complain and you can complain and you can complain, but at the end of the day the only thing that larger companies really care about is the bottom line, and the bottom line is sales, and that's what really matters. If sales are down, if people return games and so on because of quality issues, that is what people will take notice of people voting with their feet. Because people who go, I'm never going to play this game again, it's rubbish, and then they immediately pick up the next title, that's the kind of thing that goes on. And that's why sort of voting, by the way, look at, we seem to be doing okay here, that's why this kind of voting with your feet is much more important. But this is a massive topic that I find particularly interesting, and I'd be very interested to sort of speak to different people and try and gather some perspective on it and just some different views. So it's something that I'm going to be dipping into. I'm going to perhaps stop talking in a second though, because I'm kind of freaking out at the fact that we're going through Orange in not too bad of a situation. So maybe I need to just keep my head straight and hopefully it's all good. We seem to be flying not too terribly along here. Have I crashed so far in this run? I haven't. That's always a positive thing. We're into Stone Desert now with 6 seconds on the clock. That's not the worst thing ever. I'm amazed at how we were doing, because it's actually quite late at night when I'm recording this and I'm actually pretty tired. Perhaps I'm in the kind of blur zone. I've gone through the barrier and I'm into the zone of eternal sort of sleep. I'm kind of... There's a very funny Armando Iannucci sketch about sort of being more tired and stuff, actually. Let me try and find it, where he says that basically like if you can find this sort of perfect quantity of things, he's like, if you spend 2 weeks in Heathrow Airport sleeping, you'll actually come back more refreshed than if you'd gone away on holiday. We're not going to get through the next checkpoint. Bollocks! I thought so close. Damn it, one segment away. Ugh. So close. This game is not... I'm never going to complete this game. Never. It's going to be like next year and I'll still be on this map. When is enough enough? Oh god. If I haven't completed this by my birthday, I'm going to have to maybe draw a line and just say no. My birthday's April, by the way. Right. Last time today. There's a chance of... See, it's so late I can't even talk. Last chance today. So, final topic for today I have to think of, because I haven't thought of another topic, so we'll just play it by ear. But, what should we talk about? Point and click games. Oh, I know. Okay, I was thinking about this today. Okay, violence in games. And no, don't worry, it's not the stupid conversation about violence in games, it's the better conversation about violence in games. So someone questioned me a while back with Tomb Raider. Oh, let's not mention Tomb Raider. But Tomb Raider, they said to me, how would you feel... Because basically in Tomb Raider, Lara kills a lot of people. Like, a lot of people. And sometimes this happens in games a lot. You kind of notice that your character's kind of killing a lot of people. And you sort of you quantify that and go, I know they've got like a sort of, mission in their mind, but, by the end of the day, they've kind of murdered like, 100, 200 people or something. It's a massive amount. You kind of lose track sometimes of how many people your character has essentially killed. And with Lara Croft, it's the same. She she decimates this population on the island. Now they're murderous cannibals, but nonetheless, there's a lot of killing involved. And so someone said to me, "What do you think the game would be like if it had all of the puzzle-solving sort of archaeology aspects, but none of the killing?" And I said, I think it would be a 100% better game. It wouldn't be Tomb Raider, because we know what Tomb Raider is. It's just, we know the style of the game, etc, etc, etc. And don't get me wrong, Tomb Raider plays out super well, and I've enjoyed the other incarnations of it, etc. But put that to one side, the question really is, I often feel like the violence and the sort of shooting and the killing in the games, sometimes it becomes kind of monotonous. You're like, yeah, blah, 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 and down he goes, and it's like, often I've seen before many games come out where the story has maybe been not too bad, but the gameplay mechanic is unbelievable. I love it when that happens on this game, seriously, I love it when that happens. We just fly through what should have been a horrific, lifetime hospital situation. Anyway, Yeah, and often a comment that I see from sort of reviewers and things like this is that gameplay mechanics are monotonous, and by their nature that's a difficult thing to get around in any genre of gaming, is trying to make your mechanics non-repetitive. Because I mean, look at this for example, this game, okay, it's unbelievably repetitive. I have ultra simple controls, and I'm sort of not paying attention again, you know, left, right, speed up, slow down. It's a simple game. But think about other games like fighting games and third-person shooters and all this kind of stuff. Often those mechanics are simple and repetitive, and they sort of play throughout. Often when we're talking about sort of enemies and things like this as well, AI, okay, often AI is ultra repetitive. It's kind of like, you know, a sort of clone thing, but it just does one extra action. And once you've figured out that extra action, you sort of have to do it for like the next sort of 7 to 10 levels or something. And you're kind of like, yeah, okay, I got it now, I understand it. So you're just making me repeat it like 1,000 times. And all these kind of stuff. I mean, the sort of the mechanic aspect was one of the core reasons why I stopped playing World of Warcraft. Because I was kind of like, okay, I've been doing this now for like several years. I understand the mechanics of this game intricately, and therefore I have no interest in the game anymore. You know, I was a warrior tank, and I was sort of PvP'd in World of Warcraft, and basically and I'm sure some of you will share this exact same experience, that basically once, it was, you know, years I played that game. I played that game for like 4.5, 5 years, and it would just that game pretty much solely as well. I was really dedicated to it, and essentially I had done all aspects of the game that I felt I had to do, and I had the mechanical aspect was so complete for me that I was just like, it doesn't matter how it looks or the environment. I know that the mechanics of the game are going to essentially remain the same throughout these aspects. You know, my even the most complicated boss engagements were essentially I could break down into a similar sort of function of mechanics, a similar sort of sequence, of mechanics. And so that's what dulled the game for me. I was kind of like, well, it looks nice and it's pretty, but it's just the same thing, just rehashed in a different way. Now, I know that FPSs are a classic example of this. The difference, though, being is that in FPS you have the kind of multiplayer human aspect, and there is a very versatile tactical element, plus the whole aiming aspect of FPS. Aiming and kind of accuracy and skill level is what tends to keep FPS alive, because it's always a little bit different. Whereas with something like World of Warcraft, the PvP aspect in there, it did remain sort of the mechanical element was the same as the PvE element. Okay, it was just a little bit variant. So that was the key thing there. So as I say, it brings up another kind of interesting point here about these sort of things, as to sort of, you know, what you can really do to keep gameplay fresh. And oh Jesus, I could feel that was coming there. Anyway, so coming back to, I kind of started talking about World of Warcraft there, and I think I've even forgotten what we were originally talking about, which is a really bad thing. But no, for developers it's a difficult thing to sort of try and do, and I think that is a sort of key point as well in terms of sort of releasing games and so on, as to sort of how successful they can be. But you know, with Tomb Raider and these kind of things, reducing the violence down, it brings me back to the kind of point and click adventures. And now, you know, everybody enjoys different genre. The robe was getting tight and I wanted to cut around on the inside of him, but the hit detection got me. Still, nonetheless, I would like to point out that we have done very, very well on our 2 runs. If I hadn't screwed up on the end of this one, there may have been even the potential that I'd have got into the last section, I think. Oh, come on now. Oh, this is just... This run was doing really good. Did you see what time split I got through on Beach Zone there? I had like 16 seconds on the clock or 17 seconds on the clock. That's ridiculous. That's really, really, really good. We got into Desert again. Yeah, I feel pretty good with this week's Super Hang on Sunday. That's pretty good. But anyway, just to round off the last point that I was trying to make there, was that I actually think I really feel like there's more of a place for these kind of story games where there's kind of really interesting dialogue and really good puzzle solving, but without the monotonous mechanical violence, because often it's kind of like, well, you take that out of there and what you're left with is a really great story and some interesting puzzle solving. And I crave more and more games like that. If you've got some to suggest, please drop them down here. I know there are some awesome ones. I've seen them. There's some Sherlock Holmes games and things like that. Indie games is a big area for this kind of stuff, so I'll be looking to that. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next week. Don't forget, Christmas Super Hang on Sunday next week. And I'm going to let this run on here because I couldn't get my last word in on the end there. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next week for some more Super Hang on Sunday. We did good this week, so yeah, I'll see you then.